Let me paint a scenario for you. You see a girl you're attracted to, but before you actually go and talk to her, you play out in your head exactly how the whole interaction is going to go. You're going to say this, and she's going to say that, and she's going to react like this way, and then you're going to say this. And you've played this whole thing up in your head. And when you actually go and talk to her, it goes nothing like how you expected. And now you freeze up with your dick in your hand, and you're just completely awkward. If you've been in that situation, I'm here to tell you, you're not alone. I'm pretty sure most guys have been in that situation at least once. I think you'd be surprised. And I'm here to also tell you that you're not a broken person. There's nothing wrong with you. It's not about the way you look. You're not just inherently, doomed when it comes to talking to women. It's just a few things that you're probably doing wrong. Things that I would say that you probably aren't even aware of that's sabotaging your social skills with women. And a lot of guys aren't even aware about half this stuff. I mean, me being a shy, awkward kid who never spoke to women my whole life, I had to actually learn a lot of this stuff from scratch myself. So after reading a lot of books, educating myself on these topics, I've came to realize that there's usually these three things that sabotage most guys when it comes to talking to women. Okay, so the first point I'm gonna make, which is the biggest one I see a lot of guys making, and there's two things I blame for this: Hollywood and feminism. And that is pedestalizing women. And what do I mean by pedestalizing women? Basically by you putting her above yourself, treating her like she is above you in any kind of way. And you see this play out in a lot of Hollywood movies. The most famous example I would say is the movie The Notebook, where basically these two are in love way back in the day and they end up getting separated. And meanwhile, while this guy's at war, she ends up getting banged by this rich dude, and she wants to marry him. And this guy still hung up on her.
Very irresponsible. I have a fiance waiting for me at a hotel who's going to be crushed when he finds out.
So you make
what
love to me, and then you go back to your husband. Your word is shot to hell now, don't you think?
I don't know. I'll find out when I talk to him.
You're born, you know it. You wouldn't be here if there wasn't something missing.
Another good example would be the movie The Titanic, where basically this guy, Jack, gives up his life for a woman who's been cheating on her husband the whole time. And that's why I point the finger at that a lot, because a lot of young guys, whether if you grew up watching Bollywood or you grew up watching Hollywood, there's always this dynamic between the man and the woman is if I really kiss her ass enough, if I really, really show her how much I like her, eventually one day she's gonna turn around and take me as hers. And the reality is, in real life, women don't even like it when you pedestalize them. They don't even like it when you kiss their ass like that. Because when you kiss their ass, when you pedestalize a woman, you're basically communicating to her that she could do better than you and that she's above you. And what woman, what human being would want to date someone who is constantly communicating to them that they are better than them? The only women, from my experience, that do enjoy being pedestalized are usually the kind of girls you probably wouldn't want to go for. There's usually girls with daddy issues or girls who have some kind of narcissistic trait. So if there is a girl who wants you to pedestalize her, that's probably not the kind of girl you'd want to go for anyways. She probably has a lot of other baggage with her too. So I would say most women, most healthy women at least, want to be spoken to like they're just a normal human being. And if you go up to her and you start pedestalizing her and you start kissing her ass, and if you start putting her above you, subconsciously that communicates to her that she is better than you and she can do better than you, and she will take your word for it. Why shouldn't she? I'm going to give you a quick tip and a really easy tip on how to stop pedestalizing women if you are one of those guys. The first thing is humanize them. And what I mean by humanize them is realize that they're just a human being just like you. They have flaws just like you. They have insecurities just like you. And to tell you the truth, honestly, women these days probably have way more insecurities than the average guy. And you can blame a lot of this on social media and the beauty standards that are constantly blasted in their faces every day, every time they open their phone, every time they go on Instagram. So most women are more insecure than your average guy, especially when it comes to their looks. So that baddie that you like, or that you're attracted to, that really pretty girl that you like, that you're very intimidated by, you need to realize that every day when she wakes up, she also carries a bunch of insecurities day to day, just like you do. Tip number 2, when it comes to getting better at talking to women, is have interesting things to talk about. This is a big one because a lot of guys I see sometimes, like, they're maybe good at approaching the woman or getting her contact information, but the part they fumble on is the conversating aspect. When they actually do go on that date, when they actually do get to texting, they don't really know what to talk about. They don't really know what to say. So the tip I would give to most guys is become an interesting person. And notice that I put an emphasis on becoming an interesting person and not just finding interesting things to talk about. And there's a big difference between those two, because there's a lot of dating advice out here on the internet where a lot of guys, they constantly tell people to say this, do this, act like this, talk about that to women. But when you actually are that interesting guy, when you actually become that interesting guy, you don't actually have to think about anything interesting to say anymore, because you are the interesting guy. It'll just come out naturally. So a lot of these dating advice that you see on the internet that say this, don't do this, act like this, honestly, most of that is going to cause you to overthink everything more and be more in your head and not be present when you actually are talking to a girl. So my advice on this is actually be an interesting person. And the quickest thing to find out if you are an interesting person is, do you find your own life interesting? Is there things in your life that you're interested in? And if not, if the answer is no to that, my advice to that would be that your priority in life, even besides women and even besides dating, your priority should be to live a meaningful, interesting life just for yourself. Not even talking about women right now or dating or anything like that. If you don't live an interesting life for yourself, if there isn't things interesting about your own life, you don't wake up every morning, being motivated, going after something, that should be the priority for you, just to live a healthy life as a man, let alone dating. But when you do live a more interesting life in your own standards, you'll find that there won't be any trouble when it comes to talking about interesting topics. And maybe you are interested in certain things, but maybe for you might be too insecure to talk about those stuff. You may think that, other people may not think it's interesting, or other people may think it's weird that I'm interested in Dungeons and Dragons, or if I'm interested in Legos and all this kind of stuff. But the reality is, it's not about the thing that you're interested in that matters. It's the simple fact that you are interested in something that matters. It's the energy that you exude when you are interested in certain things that people can feel inside of you. It's that certain kind of like life force, that certain kind of life energy, that certain excitement that most people kind of lack day to day, that they will feel off of you simply by being passionate about something, simply by being interested in something. So it's not so much about what that thing is that you're interested in. It's just the simple fact that there is something in your life that you are interested in itself. So if what you're interested in is Dungeons and Dragons, if you are interested in building Legos, building puzzles, basket weaving, whatever it is, I can assure you that as long as you find that interesting and you are passionate about it, that's all that really matters. You don't have to be, a basketball player. You don't have to be an artist. You don't have to do crazy things, to be an interesting guy. My last point, and the most important point I can say, and that's why I saved it for the last one, is being okay with rejection. And the reason I put this as the last one, the reason why I say it's the most important, is because if you're not okay with rejection, it can sabotage all your behavior when it comes to being around women. It prevents you from truly being yourself in the moment. It prevents you from speaking your mind honestly. It prevents you from expressing your opinions, all that kind of stuff. And I think that if most guys grasp this one thing, I think that 50% of the pain from rejection would instantly get fixed, would instantly get lifted, at least 50%. And what that point is that you being rejected has to do with reasons outside of you completely. Most of the time when a woman rejects you, it sometimes doesn't even have to do anything with you. It sometimes just has to do with timing. You don't know what she's going through. Maybe, sometimes girls are in relationships. Sometimes they just got out of a relationship. Sometimes they're going through depression. Sometimes, certain things come up in life. And for you to think that every time you get rejected that it has to do with you, or it has to do with your insecurity, or it has to do with just your appearance or anything like that, is just a very unrealistic belief. Because in reality, there's so many reasons outside of you to what caused you to be rejected for you to even draw it back to your insecurities most of the time. Another thing to keep in mind to get over that fear also is realizing that you are not going to be liked by everybody. And this expands even further than dating. This expands in life, business, friendships, everything like that. That your person, when you are being your actual self, when you're being your genuine self, you're always going to risk offending people. You're always going to risk potentially not being liked by other people. If you want to play it safe, if you want to be liked by everybody, well, then you can just be fake your whole life and just be a people pleaser. That's if that's your goal, if you want to be liked by everyone. But if you want to be yourself, if you want to be authentic, if you actually want to speak your mind and be yourself, well, as a byproduct, not everyone's going to like you. That's just the truth. That's just life. Some people grasp it earlier, some people grasp it later. For me, cutting hair for the last 9 years, meeting so many people, building so many relationships with people, losing relationships with people, you start to just accept that as a way of life, because I'm somebody who is always himself, even when I was cutting hair and cutting people and talking to people, I would always be myself. And I always knew that being myself could risk not being liked. But that's just reality, And one thing I can tell you is, although you might not be liked by everyone, the people who like you really like you because you were being yourself the whole time. So yeah, those are my 3 tips for why most guys struggle with women. Those are the top 3 ones that I've noticed. If you guys have any other suggestions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.